All right, assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and other viewers out there. Welcome to another episode of the Mr. Islam Answers Back show. I know it's been a while since the last video I made, but as I said, we're always trying to keep the content coming, but it becomes difficult sometimes in these trying times that we face. But nonetheless, we still try, right? Nonetheless, we still try to keep them coming as best we can. And as I've said on many occasions, with your continued support, we try to be consistent, but it's difficult. And I want to just say, first, all praise be to Allah for the supporters that I have. You know what I'm saying, on the Patreon. I appreciate your help and your support, your donations. It helps, no doubt about that. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, brother. I'm Amarul Afiq. Welcome. So I just want to take the time to quickly, thank those brothers and sisters who do support us on the Patreon and who occasionally may, send us something on the Cash App. It helps immensely, and may Allah reward you for your help. Of course, as I always say, we're still trying to reach our goal of a minimum of 10 supporters on Patreon at this time. So don't forget to, before we begin, don't forget to like the video. Give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And as I always say, support the brothers, support the platform, support the work that we do by becoming a patron. As I said, we give you exclusive content. We share a lot of our debate notes, the notes that we actually use in the debates that we've had against some of the people that you've seen, the notes we've used against Robert Spencer or James White or David Wood, various other people that we've debated. These are the actual notes that I've used in my debates, and I'm sharing with our Patreon supporters. It's exclusive content just for you. Sometimes I also share some of the notes that I use in these videos that you guys can use for yourselves in your own discussions, in your own debates with your family members or co-workers, or if you're online, or if you're interested in becoming a Muslim debater or dialoguer, you can utilize these notes to help you in that endeavor as well. Or if you just want to be more informed, right? If you just want to be more informed about these issues as a Muslim, to be aware when Christian missionaries try to come to you and try to talk to you about these issues, or, you got those missionaries that come to your houses, depending on what country you live in, and they're knocking on your door and trying to invite you to Christianity, you can hold your own in a discussion, right? You can have well-informed discussions with these people as a Muslim and be able to refute them, and inshallah, even, show them the correct information, and through you, Allah may guide them. All right. So again, you can get that information, of course, through these videos. But again, we give you exclusive content on our Patreon for our Patreon supporters. So please take the time to support us on Patreon, so that way we can, as I always say, so we can do this work on a more consistent basis. All right. With that being said, let's go get into the topic. Before I begin, let me just send out another quick tweet, brothers and sisters. Let me just send out another quick tweet, so that the people know that we are live. All right, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Let me just send out one more tweet. I keep saying tweet. Let me send out one more tweet to let them know we are live. We are live right now. And then we'll get it started. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so today's topic, as you see, is why they really don't believe. And as you see, we have a number of things that have a red cross through them, red cross out through them, right? Why they really don't believe in what? In their Christianity, in their claims of free speech. Why they don't really believe in the U.S. Constitution, why they really don't believe in liberty and justice for all. These are all their claims, right? These are all their lofty claims that they claim about Western, so-called Western civilization, or democracy, or America, or the West, or whatever. And we find that they really, when it comes down to it, they talk a good game, right? They talk a good game, but in reality, they really don't believe in these in these things, right? I seen the brother, what's the brother's name? Brother Andalusi, right? He posted something about France, and of course we've been hearing stuff about France for years, where we're hearing that France is like is in practicing a form of extremist secularism, where they're forcing people to not allowed to wear religious symbols. We hear stories of Muslim women being told that they can't attend school unless they take off their hijabs and all that. But the West claims that that they're the society of freedom and religious freedom and all these different things, and only those Arabs do that kind of stuff, right? That's what they claim, right? That's what they tell us, but yet here we see them practicing such discriminations, right? We see them practicing no, not that brother, the brother the brother Andalusi. He's part of the MDI. That brother. He lives in the UK, or at least he's lived, the brother from the UK. So we see this hypocrisy in them, right? So I wanted to talk about that because those of you who may be following what's going on in the United States with the recent election that we had, you've been hearing things during the 4 years that Trump has been president. You've been hearing stories of immigrants or refugees or whatever title you want to give them, being put in cages, right? I've done shows about that a year or so ago, when we saw the stories of them being put in cages at the border between Mexico and the United States, children being kept in cages, right? We've seen these stories, and there are other stories coming out of different type of abuses of these people. And again, this just exposes their hypocrisy. These are the same things that, brother Malcolm X talked about in his time. Martin Luther King talked about this in his time. The Black Panthers talked about in their time, about this hypocrisy, about this double standard that these people have. They talk a good game. It all sounds good when you running out their mouths. It all looks good on paper. Justice, right? Religious freedom, free speech. It sounds great. It sounds wonderful, right? But in reality, we can see that they really don't believe in these things, right? They really don't believe in these things, right? They really don't, right? We know they really don't believe in these things. So we want to talk about that and expose and show you, as we always do, show you the evidence that, we're not just talking, that we have the evidence and the proof to show you that the fact is they really don't believe in these things, right? They talk a good game, but when it comes down to it, their actions expose that they just really don't believe in these ideas that they talk about, right? We'll hear them criticizing other countries. We'll hear them talk about, what Russia's doing. We hear them talk about what, the Chinese are doing or whatever. We hear them talk about what, whatever country you want to name. We hear them talk about it, right? Whether it's, the Iran or who else? The countries, Korea, North Korea, whatever one it is, we always hear, right? We always hear these stories. Where they're talking about these other countries. But unfortunately, we see the reality is that they really don't believe in these principles themselves, or practice them in full. So we'll get into that, inshallah. Right? We'll get into that, inshallah. So let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it. So by the way, those who are watching, don't forget to, if you can, share this on your Twitter or whatever social media platform you're using. Let people know that we are live and the topic that we are discussing. All right. So wa alaikum salam, Abdullahi. Welcome. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. Why they really don't believe in their claims of in their Christianity. So let's start with that one. Let's start with the Christianity first. Now, I'm sure if you've had any interaction with them, with the Christians, you know they always talk about love, right? Love, the love of Jesus, and you know these alleged principles of loving your enemy, turning the other cheek, right? Non-violence. These are the claims that they make, right? These are the claims that they make. But the reality is that they really don't believe in these things, right? They really don't believe in these things. Their actions show us that they really don't believe in turning the other cheek. They really don't believe in loving their enemies, right? They really don't, right? Because look at these people who we see who are well known for example, attacking Islam. One of your most famous one is who? David Wood, right? David Wood. Does he when you see his videos, does he sound like he loves his enemies, i.e. the Muslims? Do his videos demonstrate love for Muslims? No, right? His videos demonstrate bigotry, right? His videos demonstrate racism, right? I did that one show where I exposed them for their bigotry and their racism, right? Dressing up as Arabs and dressing up as the prophet and, you know, all these different things, mocking. That's a form of racism, right? Bigotry. But they tell us that Jesus teaches love and loving the enemy. So where's the love in that? He had his series, Islamicize Me, with him and his buddies. Yet they all claim to be Christians. But they'll turn right around and tell you, oh yeah, Jesus is love and God is love and, you know, love the enemy, turn the other cheek, all that BS that they talk. But the reality is they show something different, right? Of course, they'll try to justify their mockery. Of course, they'll try to justify their dressing up as Arabs and making fun of the Arab accent and all that. Of course, they'll try to justify, but we know the reality that that's not an expression of love. That's an expression of hatred. It's an expression of bigotry. It's an expression of racism, right? And here, let me show you some examples now of Christians who, again, and this is going to be interesting. When I show you all these different things, I want you guys to keep in mind and remember the things that they said about Muslims, right? Remember how they criticize Muslims for being upset when the Prophet Muhammad is mocked or insulted, right? Please remember, keep that in mind. Remember that when they talk about how the Muslims get upset, and of course, you know, as I've talked about before, you know, Islam does not tell us to harm people, physically harm people who, you know, say something about the Prophet or whatever the case may be. But just keep in mind the double standard that they have talked about that, right? They've talked about people who unfortunately have gone out and physically harmed people for, you know, saying something about the Prophet. Islam does not teach that. I repeat, Islam does not teach us to harm other people because they said something about the Prophet, as I've demonstrated from what the Quran says already, right? That the Quran does not tell people to go out and beat somebody up or kill somebody because they said something offensive or about the Prophet. The Quran addresses that issue many times, and never does Allah say to go out and harm them or kill them or whatever, you know, if somebody insults. But unfortunately, some Muslims have done that, right? And the Christians these people have made an issue of it, right? So you would think that, okay, well, you obviously think that's bad, correct? Right? You obviously think that's bad, correct? And I'm not saying that it's right either. As I said it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I repeat, Islam does not teach us to do that, right? But the Christians have talked about this, right? Yet I'm going to show you that these Christians are hypocrites, that they are willing to harm you. They're willing to kill you for not for insulting. Of course, I've showed you this before in my previous videos, where I have showed you where Christians were willing to send death threats for people mocking Jesus or whatever the case may be. But now I'm going to show you examples of Christians who are willing to kill you, not because you insulted Jesus, but because you insult their leader, i.e. Donald Trump, right? There are Christians out here who have been sending death threats to opposers of Donald Trump. So not only are they willing to kill you for Jesus, they're willing to kill you or harm you because you insult their leader that they look up to. Right? We've seen videos over the years since Trump has been in office where people have actually tried to kill people who oppose Trump. There was the guy, I think, what was it? Was it in Florida? He was sending pipe bombs, thank Allah that the law enforcement were able to catch him, right? Were able to catch him. But this guy was sending out, pipe bombs to harm people who he felt were Trump's enemies. You see? But here, let me show you actual Christian preachers, evangelists, who talk about harming you because you oppose their leader, Donald Trump. But again, remember, these are the same people who tell us that Islam is evil, that Muslims are crazy, that Muslims are violent, right? Because unfortunately, I repeat, because unfortunately, some Muslims take it to the extreme over the insulting of the Prophet Muhammad. And for my Muslim brothers, I'm not saying that it's a light thing either. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's something light and to insult the Prophet, peace be upon him. But again, I repeat, we see that Allah never tells us to harm anybody for insulting him. Allah says to either go away from those people, or he gives you a response, right? To speak to them, to say something back in response, but never to physically harm such people, right? But again, these Christians have criticized Muslims for doing that, yet look at them, they're doing it themselves, right? They're doing it themselves. The hypocrites they are. They're doing it themselves. So they really don't believe in their Christianity. So as I said, let me show you some examples of Christians demonstrating this double standard. Okay, here, take a listen to this guy right here. Take a listen to this guy right here. He is a what they refer to as a radical right-wing broadcaster named RickWiles. Says he urges Florida to pass legislation allowing citizens to shoot anyone suspected of rioting, right? Suspected. Now, there's a difference between being a suspect and actually guilty of doing something. So shoot suspected people of rioting or looting, and warns left-wing activists to flee the state because we're coming after you. But I guarantee you, if a Muslim was saying something like this, they would talk about it, right? They would say, oh, look at these people. Islam is evil. Islam is violent. The Muslims are this. The Muslims are that. But look at them, how they talk about people who disagree with them and their position. And as, look, let's take a listen. Let's listen to this guy.
Come on, left. We're going to meet you in. Come on, left. We're going to meet you in the streets this time. You know what they're doing here in Florida? The governor wants a bill passed in Florida to empower citizens to shoot and kill looters and rioters. Yes, sir. Get it done, Governor. The people are with you. We're going to defend this state of Florida. We're not going to put up with this stuff anymore. The left, you better pack up and flee. You better, if you're part of this communist revolution, lefties, you better get out of the country. If we find out you're a part of the communist revolution, we're coming after you. All right? I don't care. FBI, put my name down on a list. Go ahead and do it. Do it. I don't care. Come on, left.
So there you see it, right? There you see it, brothers and sisters. There you see it, and there you hear it, right? You heard what he had to say, correct? You heard what he had to say, right? You heard what he had to say. But again, if a Muslim said that, right, then Islam is violent, right? If a Muslim was to speak like that against people who oppose the Islamic position or whatever, right, then Islam is evil. The Muslims are evil. Islam is a violent religion. But this guy is a Christian preacher, pastor, whatever, evangelist. Look how he's talking. Look how he's talking, right? Because the other side, the left, as he calls it, the left side opposes. So notice what he said. He said, if we find out that you're part of the leftist thing or whatever, we're coming after you. But I thought you guys believed in freedom of speech. I thought you guys believed in opposing views, huh? I thought only the Muslims were about, harming people who had opposing views. I thought only Islam didn't allow opposing view, which is, again, Islam does allow it. But I thought, according to them, Islam doesn't allow you to have your own opposing views, right? But here's the Christian guy talking about, we're coming after you. He's not willing to allow the opposing view. He says, we're coming after you. And notice what he said. He doesn't care. if the FBI puts him on the list, huh? He doesn't care. So he's going to be on the list with the Muslims, huh? You're going to be on the list with the so-called Muslim terrorists, huh, buddy? Huh, buddy? You don't care though, huh? But I thought Christianity was love. I thought Christianity was love the enemy, turn the other cheek. I tell you, brothers and sisters, they don't really believe in that. They don't really believe in their Christianity. As I told you, that's for you. That's for their victims. They want you to believe in that so they can run over you. They want you to love your enemy because they're your enemy. They want you to believe in turn the other cheek, right? They want you to believe in turn the other cheek. They want you to love your enemy because when you do that, they're going to run over you. As you see, they don't believe in that. They don't practice turn the other cheek. They don't practice love the enemy. They hate their enemies. And they'll punch their enemy in the face if you turn the other cheek. Matter of fact, they'll punch you in both cheeks. They'll punch you in the first cheek, and then when you turn the other cheek, they'll punch you in that one too. Right? Wa alaikum salam, brother Omar. Right? They don't care. They don't believe in that stuff. That's only for you to believe in it. Right? They only want you to love the enemy. Because when you love them, which is your enemy, they take advantage of you. Right? They take advantage of you. They never love their enemies. They've never turned the other cheek. They don't believe in that, brothers and sisters. They don't believe in that. Here, let me show you. Let's listen to another Christian preacher. Listen to this one. Check out this guy right here. Listen to what he has to say. This one, he's talking about executing former Secretary of State and former First Lady, wife of Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. Right? Again, remember, Christians teach supposedly love the enemy. That's what they claim. Turn the other cheek, right? That's what they claim, right? Non-violence. That's what they claim, right? Well, listen to this guy. Listen to this guy.
The greatest example of love is discipline. The greatest example of love is to kill those traitors so others learn never to do it. And why are we so squeamish? Isn't it amazing we just read about men? Why are men today so squeamish to go put a noose around Hillary's neck? Well, hey, let's let her have a trial. Let's let her have a trial. I'm for that. But let's round up that whole cabal. Let's round them up. Let's publicly execute them. So anybody else realizes this ain't ever going to happen again. The greatest example of love is discipline. The greatest example of love is to kill those traitors so others learn never to do it.
Bam. You heard it, right? You heard it, right? You heard it, right? You guys heard that, right? Keep in mind now. Keep in mind. Keep in mind. You see how, what's that organization, Memory, right? That organization Memory that they like to put up videos of Arab, sheikhs and preachers and stuff from the Middle East preaching stuff, right? Right? Memory. Hey, Memory, if you're watching, if you're listening, post videos of this guy, Memory. Post videos of that guy that I just showed you. Post videos of the other guy. What's their names? Post videos of RickWiles speaking about killing people, right? And he's Christian. Post videos like that, Memory. Hey, Robert Spencer, you hypocrite. Robert Spencer. You know, you like posting videos of Arab preachers and sheikhs from the Middle East and all that, and Iran and Saudi and Egypt or whatever, saying outrageous things. Well, hey, Robert, show us that you claim you're against all forms of violence and terrorism, right? You're against all of it, right? Well, post videos of this guy, of RickWiles, Robert Spencer, calling for the killing of opposing views, leftists. Talk about that, Robert Spencer. Post that guy. Post this guy here, the other guy that I just showed you. What's his name? Dave Daubermeyer. Post him, Robert Spencer. Memory. Huh? Post these people. Bridget Gabrielle. Post videos of these guys who are preaching hate, who are preaching violence in the name of Christianity. If you're really sincere about being against all forms of terrorism and such, post videos of these people, Robert Spencer, Bridget Gabrielle, and the rest of you haters out there. Post videos of these people. Show us that you are really, fair and equitable in these things, and that you're against all forms of religious, violence and such. And post videos of these people. But You check Robert Spencer's page and Bridget Gabrielle and David Wood and the rest of them, and you'll find no videos of these people. You'll find them not addressing these people. But you've seen, brother, Mr. Islam Answers Back. I've posted videos where I've spoken out against ISIS, right? Where I've spoken out against, Al-Qaeda, right? I've spoken against terrorism in general, right? You've seen videos where I've spoken against Muslims committing acts of violence in the name of Islam. I've done that. There's videos on my channel where I've done this. But where's Robert Spencer speaking out against Christians calling for violence or committing violence? Where's that at? Have you seen that? I haven't seen it. If I'm wrong, please show me videos and I'll correct myself. But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Robert Spencer speak. But his thing is always the Muslims, the Muslims, the Muslims, the Muslims. You would think that nobody else is doing anything except Muslims if you listen to Robert Spencer or Bridget Gabrielle or David Wood and the rest of these guys. You would think Muslims are the only people committing acts of violence on the earth if you listen to these guys. But see, Mr. Islam Answers Back, I'm willing to admonish other Muslims if they're caught doing wrong. I've spoken. I have videos. Again, check my record. Check my record. I have videos going back years where you will see that I'm more fair, that I've spoken against others committing violence, and I've spoken and admonished Muslims or alleged Muslims for committing acts, right? Or planning I've spoken against it. But where are they who speak against their own? I don't think you'll see it. I haven't seen it. Like I said, if I'm wrong, if there are videos of Robert Spencer speaking out against Christians committing violence or calling for violence, then let me see it. And then I'll say, okay, yeah, there are videos of him doing it. Show me that. Show me videos of David Wood speaking out against his own. Bridget Gabrielle speaking out. Show me those videos. I haven't seen them. Right? I haven't seen them. But as you heard, the one guy, this guy here, the David Daubermeyer guy, you heard what he said, right? Again, take him out of it, take Christianity and put Muslim on that. Or replace him with a sheikh saying stuff like that. These guys would be up in arms about it, wouldn't they, right? They'd be up in arms about it. But here is one of their own kind calling for the execution of those with opposing views. According to him, that's the greatest example of love, he said. According to him, that's the greatest example of love. But Fox News didn't show videos of him, right? Fox News didn't put up videos of him talking like this. I didn't hear a peep from Robert. Matter of fact, I sent that video to Robert Spencer to see what he would have to say about it. And nothing. Silence. He didn't say nothing about it. No condemnation. Nothing. Quiet. Quiet. Silence. Right? These people are hypocrites, man. They don't really, like I said, they don't really believe in these things. And this also ties into what else I'm talking about, as you see. Right? That they don't believe that's why I crossed out all those things that you see on the screen, because they don't believe in none of that. He clearly doesn't believe what he's preaching about Christianity. But according to him, to kill these people, according to him, is the greatest example of love. Okay, that's a strange form of love, but according to him, that's the greatest example of it. Obviously, he doesn't believe in free speech either, because he wants to, what? He said, execute those people. So he doesn't believe in free speech. He doesn't believe in the so-called left having their right to their point of view. He said, nah, get rid of them. He obviously doesn't believe in the U.S. Constitution either, which allows free speech and all these different things, right? He doesn't believe in that, obviously, either. He obviously doesn't believe in liberty and justice either. Everything he said in his statement crosses out every one of, that's why I crossed every one of those things out that you see on the screen, because they don't really believe in those things. They don't really believe in those things, as you just heard. What he just said crossed out everything on the screen. That shows he really doesn't believe in free speech. If he did, he would say, hey, you guys have a right to say what you say. Instead, he said, no, execute him. He said, kill him. Right? So he doesn't believe in the Constitution, free speech. He doesn't believe in liberty and justice either. Right? And he doesn't believe in his Christianity. Nor the other guy. Right? Nor the other guy. Because according to the Constitution, you have the right to due process. Right? You can't shoot somebody for looting, right? Nor can you kill somebody for rioting either, right? Unless in the midst of the riot they were killing somebody. But if they're just rioting, yeah, it's bad, but does killing equate, because according to United States law, you're permitted to meet force with equitable force or equal force, depending on the situation. So if somebody's punching you in the face, you cannot shoot them and kill them, right? Because it's an inadequate amount of force, right? They're empty-handed and you're shooting them with a gun. It doesn't equal. The gun doesn't justify killing that person because they were just punching you in the face, right? A punch in the face is not equal to shooting somebody. So you would not be able to do that, right? You see, if I'm stealing something, you can't shoot me for stealing something, because it's not the force is that's an excessive amount of force against somebody stealing. Stealing is bad, no doubt about it. But is the death penalty warranted for stealing? No, right? No, of course not. But as you heard these guys, yeah, pass the law so we can shoot people for looting. Looting is bad. No, I'm not justifying looting. It's bad, right? Nobody wants to be stolen from. But does killing the person, is that justified for a person stealing or looting? Killing them? I don't think so. But again, and notice, this is the funny thing about this too. Notice how these hypocrites will criticize how they're scared of Sharia law, how they claim they're not really scared of it, right? Because when you listen to them, it sounds like they believe in some form of Sharia law themselves, right? Right? They talk about Islam. Oh, Islam says cut the hand off the thief. A horrible, horrendous, blah. Oh my God, crazy Muslims, horrendous. They say cut the arm. But look what he says. Shoot the looter. So forget about cutting the hand off of a person who's stealing. He says kill him, take his life. Take the looter's life. Oh, but Sharia law is horrible, I thought. I thought Sharia law was terrible. Oh yeah, pass that law so we can shoot the looters. We could shoot the looters and the rioters, but Islamic law is horrendous, you said. It's horrible. It's Stone Age, they say, right? These are the things that I've heard over the years. It's horrible. It's Stone Age. It's uncivilized. It's from, ancient times, all these different things. But look at you. You want to kill a guy for stealing, for looting. You want the death penalty. I thought you guys were against that kind of stuff, huh? But again, they really don't believe in what they say. The U.S. Constitution has what they call the right to due process, meaning if you are charged with a crime, you have the right to due process. You have the right to be taken to court, prosecuted. You get a lawyer to defend. You can defend your case, and they can go, and the prosecutor and you have a right to be defended. That's due process. You can't just be said, oh, we got you stealing, that's it, you're going to jail, or you're dying right on the spot. No, you arrest the person, you're being charged, you go to court, you fight it, you get a lawyer, you defend your position that you didn't do it, the other side tries to prove you did do it, and that's due process. And then after everything is presented, evidence from both sides, the judge makes a decision or the jury makes a decision, and you're either charged as not guilty or guilty. Due process. Here, no process at all. Oh, you're stealing, or I accuse you of stealing. I kill you on the spot. I shoot you right on the spot. That's what they want. I shoot you on the spot. No due process. Forget about being arrested. I kill you on the spot, according to them. They don't really believe in this stuff, brothers and sisters. They don't. As you hear, they don't. They don't really believe in this stuff. Right? They don't really believe. Okay? So you heard him. You heard the hypocrisy. You heard the double standard. What's the brother Amarul Afiq saying? He said, I think we're times when blasphemers will be punished if they publicize their hostility and insult, and the authorities hear it, then there is a fitting punishment. And that's the interesting thing though, because in their Bible, right? In their Bible, there are apostasy laws. There are laws about blasphemy. So it's interesting how they ignore what their Bible says, but then they try to put these claims on Islam. Meanwhile, their Bible has laws about blasphemy, that there's a death penalty for blasphemy. There's a death penalty for apostasy. It's in their Bible. I've showed you these things before, right? I've shown you these things already before, but they talk a different thing. They ignore what their Bible says. Very interesting. Very interesting thing. Here, let's take a look at some other things to show you how these guys are hypocrites and have a double standard. right? Here we have, as you can see here, take a look, right? Again, and this is not even have anything to do with religious, but this goes to show you these people are hypocrites. Here, they're willing to kill you because you are oppose their leader, right? Because you oppose the person that they support, Trump. Here, Philadelphia vote counters. These are people who just count the votes, brothers and sisters. People who just count the votes. Philadelphia vote counters. People who just count the votes are getting death threats from deranged Trump supporters. Just because the votes are not adding up in Trump's favor, Trump supporters are sending death threats to the people who are simply counting the votes. Simply counting the votes. They want to harm you. But again, love the enemy, turn the other cheek. Freedom of speech, justice and liberty for all these claims that they make that they really don't believe in as their example. Their actions show they really don't believe in these things. So as you see here from this article here, yes, the vote counters are getting death threats from Trump supporters. But again, take out Trump supporter and put Muslim there, and these guys would be up in arms about it, would they not, right? And I guarantee you, these same Trump supporters are the same people who think Islam, who say Islam is the enemy, that the Muslims are evil and violent, and Islam is a violent religion, and all these different things, right? These are the same people who will tell you this. Yet they turn around and do the same thing that they claim is bad. Do the same thing that they claim is evil. Here they are doing the same thing that they criticize Muslims for allegedly doing. Here they are. Here they are. Right? Here they are. All right, let's take a look at some others. Here's another one. Arizona Secretary of State faces death threats as Trump promotes election conspiracy theories. So they're getting death threats. Elected officials getting death threats. So not only are simple vote counters being threatened, but people who are in positions of authority are being threatened with death because they're not going along with the vote, right? And for what I've seen thus far, brothers and sisters, all the reports show that there haven't been found any legitimate cases of voter tampering or illegal votes or the election being tampered with. They haven't found any legitimate claims of such. They haven't found any legitimate claims. So these people are just doing their job. And they're counting the votes. The votes show that Biden has won. And because these guys don't like it, they're sending death threats to people just doing their job, counting votes. They're sending death threats to people who are in positions of authority. The Secretary of State of Arizona and others have been threatened as well. There are a number of articles and cases of a number of people being threatened. And here, let me say something. You can't take these things lightly either. You can't say, oh, they're just threatening. Not real. No, because we've already seen the example that there have been real cases, as I told you, of the guy about a year or so ago who got arrested because he was actually sending pipe bombs to people who he felt were Trump's enemies. Like I said, thank Allah that the authorities were able to catch him before he was able to carry out. But he was sending bombs to these people, to different government officials who Trump had called out. So no, you can't take it like, you can't say, oh, they're just sending. No, because there have already been cases where they have tried to actually harm these people. They've tried to harm those who they view as the opposers or enemies of Trump. So no, you can't take it lightly. You can't just say, oh, they're just talking. No, because there's been too many cases of actual, real, imminent dangers present. Okay, here's another one. Former U.S. Senator Jeff Flake has received several threats from Trump supporters. Man carrying rifle visits 3 locations searching for, see that? Can't take it lightly. So a man with a rifle, right, was seen visiting the location, searching for this guy. This is dangerous, brothers and sisters. This is dangerous. This is getting out of hand. But according to Robert Spencer, according to David Wood and all these other guys, Islam is the threat. Islam is the threat, they say. The Muslims are the threat, they say. Look out for the Muslims, they say. Trump said, ban people coming from Muslim countries, he said. Meanwhile, the threat is right here in our own country. They're right here. Forget about, that's why I told you guys, forget about worrying about the Muslims. You guys are the threat. These guys, right? These guys are the threat. Forget about worrying about some outside enemy. You guys, not you guys I'm talking to, but you guys, i.e. you guys, the Trump supporters who are right here in this country, you're the threat yourself. You don't even see it. You guys are the danger, right? You're the danger. You are the terrorists, you Trump supporters. You're the ones doing what you claim the Muslims do. You're doing what you claim is evil. If the Muslims do it, it's evil. But if you guys do it, oh, you're justified, huh? If you do it, you're heroes, huh? Is that it? Double standard. So as you can see here in the little subtitle, it says, man carrying rifle visits 3 locations searching for this ex-politician. That's dangerous, man. That means these guys are not playing around. This is not empty threat. This is not just talk. They're serious about these threats. And notice they're not even willing. They're not doing this over Jesus. Again, I've shown you that there have been stories where many of them have been willing to exact death threats, etc., in the name of Jesus. But here they are doing it over a regular human being. Right? But you criticize Muslims who get upset about the insults against Prophet Muhammad. Peace be upon him, right? You guys are getting upset over threats about a regular human being. You guys are getting upset over opposition or speaking against a regular man, Donald Trump. You're willing to kill people over that. But if the Muslims and again, I repeat, I'm not justifying Muslims who try to harm people who insult the Prophet Muhammad. I'm just want to show you the hypocrisy that, look, they're willing to kill you over a regular guy named Donald Trump. He's not a god. He's not a prophet. He's not a holy man. They're willing to kill you over a regular human being, Donald Trump. But criticize Muslims who get upset over insults or mockery of the Prophet Muhammad. Do you see the double standard here, brothers and sisters? Do you see the double standard? It's crazy. Right? It's crazy. It's crazy. Right? But that's the double standard. Right? That's the double standard of these people. That's the double standard of these people. Right? Some other examples to demonstrate to you that they don't believe, for example, in free speech. Right? Remember how many of you have heard the stories from a few years ago of Colin Kaepernick, as you see here in the photograph, the one with the afro, right? Number 7, as you see there, that's Colin Kaepernick, where due to America's continued racism and racist police brutality, he decided that during the playing of the United States national anthem at the sports events, that instead of standing for the national anthem, as you see people doing on the other side, standing and you put your hand over your heart and you pledge allegiance to the country and all that stuff like that, right? He said, because America is not living up to its claims of freedom and justice and equality and all that for all, that he would take a knee during the national anthem. And as you see here, some other men that agreed with him and took a knee with him, right? As a protest to show, no, we can't honor and respect the national anthem because the country is not living up to its claims, right? So they took a knee. And when he did this, I'm sure you may have heard the stories that, of course, people criticized him for that. They called him all kinds of names. They didn't like him. In fact, the NFL, the National Football League, ostracized him. They blackballed him, right? Or rather, they whiteballed him, meaning they shut him out. None of the teams would pick him up. They made sure that he couldn't get back into the NFL. All because he exercised, again, which is supposed to be his right. Free speech. This is an example of free speech here. But they don't believe in that stuff, brothers and sisters. They really don't believe in it. Right? They don't believe in it. It wasn't like he was cursing the country. As you see, he's just taking a knee. He didn't give them the middle finger or make some obscene gesture during the national. And he said, no, I'll just take a knee. It's silent. It's peaceful. And it's a respectful form of protest. He's just taking a knee. He's not standing with his middle finger up in the air, right? He's not, cursing them or anything. He's just simply quietly taking a knee when they do the national anthem out of a show of respectful protest that the country is not living up to its claims, right? That's all. Real simple. But they hated him for this. They criticized him for this. They ostracized him. They whiteballed him, right? They shut him out from being able to get back in to play football. And to this day, he's still not back in the NFL. To this day, they shut him out. Make sure he can't get back. He's not in the play. All because he exercises and is justified. His position is justified. It's not like he's wrong or he's making it up. He's correct. He's correct in his protest because the country is not. It hasn't been for a long time. Matter of fact, I don't think it's ever really lived up to those claims. Because we can go back to the time of Malcolm X and before, the country has not lived up to it. Malcolm X spoke about the country. That's why he said democracy is hypocrisy. Because he spoke in his time back in the 50s and 60s of how the country was not living up to its claims to liberty and justice for all. That all men are created equal. It hasn't lived up to that claim since its inception. In fact, it hasn't lived up to it, and it's still struggling to live up to that. So he protested peacefully, which is his right, peacefully. Right? And people might say, well, you got to face the consequences of your, of what you say. Yeah, but what's he doing? Again, it's not like he put up his middle finger during the national anthem. It's not like he's cursing the country. It's not like he's making some obscene gesture. He just peacefully took a knee in protest, a peaceful, quiet protest during the national anthem. And they ostracized him. They wanted to punish him for that. Again, it would make more sense if they said, hey, man, he stuck up his middle finger during the national anthem, or he said F you during the national anthem. So you might feel more, that's offensive and say, okay, well, he really offensively protested. So because of that, we're not going to allow him to play or not. That might make more sense. You might be able to understand more if it was like that. But no, this is all he does. And I'm sure he probably got death threats too, right? I'm sure he probably got death threats about that. But let me show you something else too, to show you further that they really don't believe in their claims and their principles. Right? Here are some comments from people from a young Latino American boy who is an American. He's an American. When you read the story about this child, this boy, he is an American. His father, is here in the United States. His father was in the United States Navy and everything. So this boy is of, Latino or Mexican descent, but he is an American. And you know how they always talk about assimilation. They want you to assimilate. They want they want Mexicans, Arabs, etc., people of color. They want you to assimilate, they say, into their country. So here's a little Latino American boy showing his assimilation, right? He's singing the national anthem, and look what they say about him. So they're not pleased, no matter which way it is, whether you try to assimilate to them or if you maintain your cultural identity, they're never satisfied. So here's a little Mexican American boy. He sings the national anthem. You would think that would make them happy, right? You would think that they would say, look, he's Latino, but at least he's assimilating. Nope, that didn't make them happy. He sings the national anthem, and what do they say? Look at this girl, Grace Kelly. I'm highly upset that this kid is singing the United States national anthem, clearly from Mexico. But I thought you want them to respect you. I thought you want people of other nationalities to assimilate. So here's the little Mexican American boy assimilating by singing your national anthem, and you're still not satisfied with that. You know why, brothers and sisters? Because what did I tell you? What did I tell you before? Their religion is really what? The religion of white supremacy. That's their religion. That's their real ideology. So it doesn't matter whether you fight in their military with them, join their military, support them, sing their national anthem. So it doesn't matter whether you sing the national anthem or whether you don't. They don't like you either way. So whether you're Colin Kaepernick, the football player that I showed you, who takes a knee during the national anthem and not sing it, they don't like that. And if you decide to sing it and you're not a white man, they still don't like it, as you can see here. You can't win. They don't like you either way. They just don't like you. That's the point. They just don't like you no matter what. Wa alaikum salam. Right? They don't like you no matter what. Whether you sing it or you don't sing it. The religion is the religion of white supremacy. So it doesn't matter to them. You can kiss their ass all you want. You can kiss their ass all you want. They still won't like you. They'll never be satisfied with you. You can act patriotic. You can sing the national anthem. As you see here, they don't like it. You can protest against it. They don't like it. No matter which way you go, they don't like you. Why? Because their religion is actually the religion of white supremacy. Take a look at some others. Look at this one. Is this the American national anthem or the Mexican hat dance? Get this little kid out of here. Again, you would think that they'd be happy that the little Mexican boy, little Mexican American boy sings their national anthem. But instead, no, they're upset that he's singing it. But I thought you guys want them to assimilate, huh? I thought you guys were tired of Latinos and others coming to your country and not assimilating. He's assimilating. He's showing his assimilation. And you're not happy. You're not happy with that. Right? You're not happy. They're not happy, as you can see here. They're not happy with it. Another one. This kid is Mexican. Actually, no, he's American. If you read the story about the young kid, he's actually an American of Mexican heritage, yes, but he's an American. This kid is Mexican. Why is he singing the national anthem? You're not American. Go home. Meanwhile, the kid is an American. And as I told you, if you read the story, this kid, he's an American. His father was an American. His father actually was in the United States Navy. So his father actually fought for this country. That's why I always tell you guys that I agree with Muhammad Ali. When Muhammad Ali was younger and, he refused to go to the Vietnam War for America because he was right. He said, why should I fight for these people? Why should I put my life on the line for you when you don't like us? You're racist against us. You're treating black people horribly. Why should I go fight on your behalf when you're not even treating me right here? Well, look at the same thing. So you fight for them and they hate you. They don't respect your sacrifice. You fight for the United States military. They don't respect your sacrifice. So why do it? Why fight for these people? Just so you can come home and they hate you? This kid is a Mexican. Why is he singing the national anthem? Because he's an American. I thought you guys wanted that. So again, as you see, they really don't believe in any of those principles it's a good game. It sounds good. Freedom of speech sounds great. God is love. Jesus is love. Sounds great. Sounds wonderful. But they really don't believe in these claims as I have demonstrated throughout this show today. Right? They clearly don't believe in these principles. Again, they want you to believe in them because that's how they pacify you, right? And that allows them to walk all over you. When you turn the other cheek, they walk all over you. When you love them as your enemy, they walk all over you. They'll beat you down. They'll use that against you, right? They'll use that against you because they don't really believe it, but it's to their benefit if you believe it. When you believe in those things, it's to their benefit because that puts you in the weaker, disadvantaged position while they walk right over you. While you loving them as your enemy, they're killing you and walking right over you. When you're turning the other cheek, they're punching you in the other. Right? When you're being passive and all of that, they're being aggressive. But they want you to continue those principles. Right? They want you to continue those principles. But as you see, they don't really believe in any of these things, brothers and sisters. They don't really believe in these principles. They don't believe in these principles at all. right? What's this for Omar? If Marshawn said what he said about Islam, but to Jews, it would be anti-Semitism rather. Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly, brother Omar, exactly. They only believe in it when it suits them. But when you try to exercise your right to free speech, oh no, you're an enemy, you're this, you're that. They want to kill you, they want to threaten you, they want to harm you, they want to beat you up, right? Get out the country, all these different things. When you do it, but when they do it, oh, it's right, it's just. When they want to exact violence in the name of their ideology, they're justified, they're right. When you do it, you're crazy, you're deranged, you're evil, you're violent. When they do it, they're justified, right? When they do it, they're justified. When you do it, no, you're evil, you're a traitor, you're a terrorist, you're all these evil things that they name negative. But when they do it, they're heroes, they're justified, they're being patriotic, etc. See the double standard, see the hypocrisy, right? Clear double standard, clear hypocrisy on their part, right? And here, my last point. Let me show you my last point. There have been reports that in addition to keeping people in cages, there have been reports that they have been, in a sense, I guess you can call it sterilizing some of these immigrants, some of these refugees who have been detained at these facilities. So they're saying that there have been cases, an alleged whistleblower has said that there have been cases of the women that are being kept in these detention centers being given hysterectomies. When they remove, a hysterectomy is when they remove part or all of the woman's womb or her fallopian tube so she can no longer have kids. And as I talked to you guys before, that part of the ideology behind this stuff is that, they fear the increase in the number of people of color, right? I've talked about this in many of my past videos where they don't talk about it too much openly, but if you look for it, you can find where they do discuss how whites are fearful that they already know that they are the minority on this earth, right? Everywhere else is people of color. People of color on this earth are in the majority. These whites, whether they're from Europe or America or whatever, Canada, Australia, etc., they are aware that they are in the minority on the earth, and they are fearful that they are becoming the minorities in their own countries, in America, particularly in Europe, etc. This is why you see them always so extremely staunch about immigrants, anti-immigrant, right? That's why you see the anti-immigrant thing in Greece, in Berlin, in Belgium, in Germany, in the UK, etc. Right? In Spain and France. Why they're so anti-immigrant? Why? Because they fear the increase in people of color. They've always had this fear, which is why they've always went around the earth and colonized and dominated these people to keep them under control. But they're still fearful to this day of that change in their own countries, because as I showed you some time ago in the book by Pat Buchanan known as The Death of the West, how he talks about the whites' fear of the increase of people of color and the decrease in whites or people of European descent. And he talks about how in all of their countries, their numbers are going down, right? Their population growth is at 0, and in some it is negative, right? The white population growth, but people of color are increasing. Africans are increasing, Asians are increasing, Latinos are increasing. All these people of color who they hate, despise, their numbers are increasing and their numbers are going down. And there have been reports that in America by the year 2045 or 2040 or 2050, there's different numbers, but in the next 2 or 3 decades, whites in America will become the minority, they say. Right? In some states, they already are the minorities. In some states, they are already the minority. I think in California, right? But by 2045 or 2050 or 2040 or whatever, they say in the whole country, whites will become the minority. This is why in America, a lot of them are so anti-immigrant. So these cases of hysterectomies or sterilizations of these women who are being detained, these Latino women or Mexican women who are being detained in these immigration detention centers, is alarming, because this is like eugenics program. This is like Hitler's final solution to get rid of the unwanted. In this case, get rid of the people of color, since the Latinos are known for having, you know, more children. Well, let's sterilize them. Let's give them hysterectomies. And they're saying, the reports are saying that these are unwanted, that the women were not informed what was happening to them, right? They weren't told that, you know, this is what you're going to get a hysterectomy. So, you know, it's under investigation there. You know, right now we'll leave it as an allegation. But in any case, I want my voice as an American to be on record that this is horrendous. I'm only one person. I don't, unfortunately, have the power to change anything. And as Islam teaches us, that, you know, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that if you see a wrong, you know, of course, the best thing to do is try to change it with your hand. If you can't do that, then speak out against it. And he said, if you can't do that, hate it in your heart, of course, and that is the lowest level of faith. So at least I'm speaking out against it. I know as one man, I don't have the power to change it with my hand. So the least I could do is speak out, have my voice recorded by the angels that I spoke out against this injustice, and that in history, I'll be down as recorded as an American citizen who at least spoke out against it. I don't want to be like the Germans in Nazi Germany who said nothing while these atrocities were taking place right under their noses. Perhaps they agreed with it. Well, I don't agree with this. I'm an American who does not agree with it. So I want my voice to be recorded in history, that at least I, as an American, I spoke out against it. I didn't sit by and ignore it like many Germans did in Nazi Germany. I didn't agree with it either. So at least my voice will be recorded in history as an American who spoke out against it. When the history books speak about these atrocities in years to come, like they speak about the atrocities of Hitler or Mussolini or Stalin or, Pol Pot or whatever other, people who are known in history for committing atrocities, I will be, inshallah, my voice will be on record as at least an American citizen who spoke out against it, who condemned it. But this is the amazing thing. It's like, I always wonder how these people have these things going on, and now we can understand how in Nazi Germany, the Nazis got away with putting the Jews and others in concentration camps and exterminating them because the society didn't do anything about it. Perhaps the Germans agreed with it. Perhaps that's why they didn't do anything. Maybe, right? Maybe they agreed with it, so that's why they didn't care. Right? But now we have a history where we look back on these things and we say these things were horrible. We say Hitler was evil. Well, look, here's an example of this going on in your own country, fellow American citizens. Don't sit by and allow this to go unchecked. Speak out against it. Those who are in power positions, do something about it. If you're a senator or a congressperson, do something about this. So that way, when the history books speak about this event, years later, decades later, when the children read about this, they can see that there were people who spoke out against this. Don't be like us who read about, for example, Nazi Germany, and we wonder how come the German citizens didn't do anything about this, right? Or why they must have apparently agreed with what the Nazis were doing. Well, like I said, I repeat, I want to be on record as a citizen of this country speaking out against what's going on. So that way history will know that I spoke out against it as an American citizen. I spoke out against it. I didn't sit by idly and say nothing. I didn't ignore it. I didn't try to justify it. But my voice is on record as speaking out against such atrocities. Okay? So, as I said, brothers and sisters, this program, today's show was just an example to show you that they really do not believe in these claims. They don't believe in their Christianity. They don't really believe in free speech unless it's themselves free speech. But if you have free speech and you speak in opposition to what they believe in, well, they don't believe it. They don't believe in it then. They really don't believe in the U.S. Constitution, as you saw from the stuff that I showed you during this show, where the stuff that some of those Christian preachers were saying is clearly in violation of the things that are in the U.S. Constitution. That they really don't believe in liberty and justice. And you know what? I forgot. I got one more. I got to show you, brothers and sisters. One more. I got one more. This one right here. One more. Right? This one here, it says, beneath the wacky Paula White video, she's a female Christian preacher evangelist. It says, beneath the wacky Paula White video is a dark and deeply undemocratic world propping up the president. Now, this also ties into the fact that they really don't believe, because, again, you know how they always claim that Islam is trying to take over, right? They say the Muslims are trying to take over. The Muslims want to take over the world. But in reality, it's them who wants to take over. And again, I've talked about this before. They're the ones who really want to take over. Right. And of course, their actions demonstrate it, because they're the ones that have colonized America, North America, Central, South America. They've colonized parts of Africa. They've colonized parts of Asia. So the reality is that they're the ones who have been who want to control the world and have already tried to control it. Right. For the last several centuries, it has been under European domination. The colonies that they have all over the world prove that they're the ones actually who want to control the world. But even here, even in this day and time, it is still these Christians who are the ones who really want to do what they claim the Muslims want to do. Let's take a look at this article right here. Right? Let's take a look at this article. So as I say, this woman that you see on the screen, she is a Christian preacher who is supposed to be an advisor to Donald Trump and the White House. Right? And during this election that has taken place, they have been expressing their true feelings, right? So let's take a look at what they're saying here. It says right here, I'm at the second paragraph. During the nightly prayer broadcast, Paula White and fellow prayer warriors called on God to smite the president's enemies, his political opponents, anyone standing in the way of a second term, and anyone interfering with their vision of national and global dominion. But I thought only the Muslims were trying to do that. Paula White, David Wood, Robert Spencer. I thought it was bad to try to dominate the world, even though, again, the Muslims are not trying to do that. But again, according to the Christians, I hear Christians all the time tell us how bad that is, that the Muslims want to take over the world. The Muslims are trying to dominate the world, they tell us. But that's what you guys want. According to the article here, your Christian preacher, Paula White, she wants God to smite any political opponents and anyone standing in the way of their national and global dominion. But I thought only the Muslims did that. I thought that was evil and bad. Again, I repeat, the Muslims are not trying to do that. And Islam does not teach us to do that, right? Because the Quran clearly speaks about if people don't want to believe, what does Allah say? He says, let them disbelieve. He says, let them. Your job is only to deliver the message. So Allah does not instruct us to try to take over the world. Islam clearly acknowledges that people will not believe. And if they don't believe, Allah says, let them. You don't fight. Don't make them believe. Don't force them. Again, no compulsion in religion. And no, that verse was not abrogated. For the haters who are going to try to use that, no, that verse was not abrogated. That verse still stands. No compulsion in religion. You can't force people to accept Islam. And as I've showed you in my previous videos, numerous verses that say, if they don't believe, your job is only to deliver the message. You have not been placed over them as a guardian. You're not their keeper, etc. You can't force people to believe, etc. Okay, so Islam does not teach that. But again, according to these people, Islam is trying to take over. And according to them, that's evil. That's horrible. But they're the ones who actually have the global domination agenda, as we see here, right? So she wants God to smite anybody who stands in their way. Doesn't that sound familiar, guys? Doesn't that sound familiar? Right? Where did I hear that from? Where did I hear that it's evil to try to take over the world? It's evil to to try to harm people standing in or have opposing views. Oh, I know, I heard that from the Christians. But yet the Christians are now calling for the destruction of anybody who stands in their way. Oh, maybe that's why you don't like that, because you want to really control the world, huh? So anybody who stands in their way, or who you claim is trying to do that themselves, you want them destroyed because you want to take over the world. Ah, I get it. I get it. I get it. Let's read further. It says the first night generated so much press coverage following the release of clips by Right Wing Watch, the mocking memes that trended on Twitter, that Paula White Ministries took down the videos. But because of this, they knew that the world would be watching on the second night of their prayer for the nation's broadcast. On the first night, White and members of her staff, notably Pastor Todd Lamphere and her son, Pastor Brad Knight, engaged in imprecatory prayer against the demonic confederacies they believe were arrayed against them and against Trump's re-election. Peter Montgomery reported that Knight, who cast himself as a warrior in the mold of the biblical King David and holding earthly authority due to his apostolic mantle, prayed for God to act while blurring the person of Jesus and Donald Trump in his prayers. Let's read his prayer, everybody. Let's read what he said. It says, right now, this is a quote from Pastor, what's his name? Pastor Todd? This is Pastor Brad Knight. He says, right now, everything in opposition to that must fall. Everything in opposition to Paula White Cain must fall. Wow, they even add themselves. How arrogant. They add themselves in there, huh? Everything in opposition to Bradley Knight must fall. Everything in opposition. Look how they add themselves to it. Look how arrogant they are. So not only in opposition, so they equate themselves to their God. So if it's in opposition to their God and themselves, they want it to fall, like as if they're somebody special. Everything in opposition to this house and the people in it must fall. And God, we standing here, knowing that it will also speak against that which has risen up against America, and that everything that has come in opposition to the man that you have chosen, the man that you have elected. How do they know that? How do they know that God chose Trump? How arrogant they are, man. How arrogant they are to think, right? But then they claim that when Muslims are supposedly acting or think that they're acting on behalf of God, oh, well, that's evil. But look, for them, they can declare that Trump, a regular earthly man who's not even really religious, but they can claim that, God has elected him. Amazing. And that everything that has come in opposition to the man that you have chosen, the man that you have elected, the man that your hand is behind, the man that you're pleased with. How do they know? How do they know? How do they know that God is pleased with Trump? How do they know? Amazing. The man that you pulled out of the midst of darkness and elevated. The man who made a mockery of the things of this world and will do it again. Wait, what? Wait, that doesn't make sense. The man that you pulled out of the midst of darkness and elevated. The man who made a mockery of the things of this world and will do it again. Oh, that's interesting. I'm quite confused on that part. God, we call you out now, and nothing against him shall prosper. Nothing that rises against him shall succeed. Man made a mockery of the things. Oh, okay. He made a mockery of the things of this world. Okay, in other words, he made a mockery of the things of this world, but he's with God. Okay, I see what they're saying now, what they're trying to say. But yeah, if they think that's what Trump is, that's amazing. That's amazing. It says Paula White claimed that the demonic elements are seeking to hijack the will of God, to hijack what God has already established in the earth. She asked God to take vengeance. For every enemy that is aligned against you, she prayed, let there be what would strike the ground. White tweeted a further call to imprecatory prayer. She said, I asked you to pray fervently without ceasing for our nation and the election results. There is great concern that some are trying to steal this election. Let us pray to God, who knows all, to reveal the truth. Pray that the enemies to God are quieted and their plans are overturned. Some of the spiritual warfare enthusiasts are dangerously ramping up their rhetoric beyond the usual hyper-spiritualized form of spiritual warfare language as found in Ephesians 6:12. Dr. Andre Gagné, a professor of theological studies at Concordia University in Montreal, told RD, it is concerning in part because they claim that God speaks and acts through them when they speak prophetically to the church like this. Again, but if the Muslims claim that they're doing something in the name of Allah, right? The Muslims are evil. The Muslims are crazy. The Muslims are satanic, etc. But notice they can themselves declare that they themselves are speaking and acting in the name of God or on behalf of God. And for them, it's justifiable, right? And for them, it's okay. They're right. If a Muslim does it, you're crazy, you're satanic, you're demonic. But if they do it, oh, you're acting on behalf of God. See the hypocrisy, see the double standard. And again, I'm not claiming that Muslims who claim to do stuff in the name of Allah are actually doing it in the name of Allah. I'm not claiming that at all. But what I'm showing you is the hypocrisy. What I'm showing you is the double standard. Okay? So again, I'm not claiming that Muslims who do things wrong or violently in the name of Allah are actually justified. I'm not saying that, or that Allah wants them to do it, or is, telling, accepting them or condoning what they're doing. I'm not saying that. I'm just showing you how the Christians are hypocrites. Because here they are speaking that same kind of way. You see? They're speaking that same kind of way, and that's my point. And as the scholar here said, that they're going beyond just spiritual warfare. They're actually talking about physical stuff now. They're not just talking about some type of spiritual warfare. They're talking about actual real, as I showed you from some of the other pastors who said, yeah, we want to shoot the lefties. We want to kill them. They're traitors. We want to execute them. So they're not just talking about spiritual. They're talking about a physical thing now in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of Christianity, etc. All right. So here it says, but the glitzy rise, I'm right here for those who are right here, right? It says, but the glitzy rise that featured a mansion and a private jet may be epitomized, as journalist Sarah Posner reports in Unholy, Why White Evangelicals Worship at the Altar of Donald Trump, but by how she and her husband, fellow evangelist Randy White, were able to afford a $3.5 million condo in Trump Tower in New York. And that's another thing we've talked about before, which is another side issue. But I've showed you shows where these people, for them, they use Jesus to get rich. It's a game. It's a scam, right? It's a scam. They use their religion to get rich. $3.5 million condo in the name of Jesus. Right? So, this is how they are. And as the article shows, like I said, as it goes on, how it shows you that this is what, they're about. It's going beyond just spiritual things. Let's read a little bit more here. It says, White and many other prosperity doctrine evangelists have adopted the church governance models of the new apostolic reformation. White began in 2012 with a sermon titled Season of Apostolic Reformation, telling her congregation that they must align with this new order. God is a theocracy, not a democracy, White stated, and warned congregants to get in, get out, or get run over. So again, notice how they talk about Saudi Arabia being a theocracy. Notice how they talk about Iran being a theocracy and how bad that is, right? How bad that is, how evil that is, how oppressive such governments are. But here they are saying that that's what they want themselves, but in the name of Christianity. So once again, the hypocrisy, the double standard. If it's in the name of, if the Christians are dominating the government, then that's okay, right? And as you heard her, as you see right here, she warned, you better get in it or get out or get run over. There's no, freedom of speech as they claim. There's no freedom of thought. There's no right to not believe as they claim. You either get in, she said, you better get out, or you're going to get run over. No freedom of speech, no freedom of thought. No, you can have opposing views. The same things that they claim Muslims don't allow, notice that's what she's calling for. The same things that they criticize Saudi Arabia, Iran, or whatever country they talk about as supposedly some extreme religious government. She's calling for the same thing, but in the name of Christianity. So again, I guess it's okay. If the Christians do it, then it's, if the Christians oppress you in the name of Christianity, that's cool, everybody. See, it's okay. As long as the Christians are oppressing you with their Christian theocracy. It's bad if a Muslim does it. And again, I repeat, Muslims are not supposed to oppress people anyway. But again, I'm just talking about the double standard and the hypocrisy based on their own arguments. So as long as the Christian government is oppressing us, everybody, then that's okay. And if we don't like it, we better get out, as you heard, as Miss Paula White says. If we don't like it, y'all, we better get out. Or we better get in place, or we're going to get run over, everybody. Right? If the Christians get in power. But if the Muslims do it, it's evil, it's satanic, it's demonic, it's oppression. If it's a Muslim government. Christians do it, oh, they're right, they're justified. Right? They're right and they're justified when it's them. Let's read further a little bit more. Nights of prayer for dominion. On the second night of prayer for the nation, now with a presumably larger audience due to the viral video, the theatrics were restrained, but the prayer were no less militant. White set the stage for 3 hours of prophetic prayer by night, Lamphere, and others who variously quoted from paraphrased and riffed off biblical verses. White said that the church has a covenant with God, and that the same spirit that raised Christ from the dead dwells on the inside of us right now. As believers, you have an everlasting covenant. Therefore, White reminded viewers and those present throughout the evening, God speaks and acts through his church. A praying person, she says, has power. You have to execute the will of God on earth because God legally gave man dominion. When he said, let man have dominion, he transferred it over. It is illegal for God to do anything on earth, she averred, unless he works with someone. That someone or someones he is talking about comprise what they call the body of Christ, who are empowered to gain dominion over the earth. Oh, but wait a minute, stop. But if the Muslims talk about dominion, which that's evil, right? If the Muslims talk about spreading Islam, it's evil, it's demonic, you want to control, you're trying to take over, you're trying to dominate. But for the Christian, it's okay because according to Paula White, God gave you dominion over the earth. So, okay, you guys are allowed to have dominion, but nobody else, right? No other religions can try it. If the other religions try to have dominion over the earth, you're trying to control, you're trying to take over. If the Christian does it, oh, you're justified because God gave the Christians, the body of Christ, he gave you dominion over the earth. So you have the right to control the rest of us, huh? Christians, is that it? Is that it, you hypocrites? Is that it, you double standard hypocrites? That's what it is, huh? So she says, who are empowered to gain dominion over the earth and to enforce, listen to that, and to enforce their understanding of God's agenda. Oh, okay. So the Muslims can't do anything, huh? We you know, right? But the Christian, you have the right to enforce, those are her words, you have the right to enforce your understanding of God's agenda. But again, if a Muslim does that, they're evil, satanic, demonic, controlling, oppressive, etc., right? But if you guys do it, that's your God-given right, huh? Interesting. Interesting. This is what many observers call dominionism. Dominion. Matter of fact, I did a show about that years ago. Years ago, I did a show about that thing called dominionism. And I talked about the same thing, how the Christians are hypocrites. They criticized the Muslims for allegedly, I repeat, allegedly wanting to control. And again, from what I've seen, Muslims are not trying to control anything, which is why Muslims become citizens of your countries. And they work in your countries, they serve in your militaries, they serve in your space programs, they serve as scientists because they're trying to help your country. They're not trying to take over anything. So that's a lie that Muslims are trying to take over anything. But nonetheless, the Christians have conjured up this false claim that Muslims are trying to take over the earth and take over the world and control and all of that. But in reality, the Christians have this belief, and it's called dominionism. They have a belief where they are trying to take over the earth in the name of Christ and Christianity. To them, it's good, it's okay. But if a Muslim does it, again, it's evil, it's bad, double standard, hypocrisy. So he says this is what many observers call dominionism, which is a belief that the Christians have the right to control the earth and control the world in the name of Christianity and in Jesus Christ. So they have the right to control, but you Muslims know if you do it, you're evil, demonic. Christians, they have the right to do it though, because they're supposedly on the right side. Yeah, whatever. Right? It goes on to say, we are not peripheral to the world, she declares. The world is peripheral to us, the church. The church. She insists that God did not give the world authority. He gave all authority in heaven and on earth to his church. So again, that's their justification. According to them, they have the right. But if a Muslim was to quote his book and says, well, Allah says, you know, invite people to Islam with wisdom and beautiful preaching. Oh, you're evil. You're trying to control. It's oppression. Sharia law is dangerous. We got to stop it and all of that. But if Christian Sharia law is trying to take over, oh, well, that's okay, because according to them, God gave them the right. Right? God gave them the authority in heaven and on earth, according to Miss Paula White. See the double standard? See the double standard? There it is. There it is right there. So I think we can stop right there, brothers and sisters. I think the evidence has been presented efficiently for you to see that, again, these people really don't believe in what they claim. They don't believe in it. And I've demonstrated that very clearly. So again, they really don't believe in the claims that they make about Christianity. God is love, love your enemy, turn the other cheek, nonviolence and all that. They really don't believe in that stuff. They really don't believe in free speech, as I demonstrated. They don't believe in the U.S. Constitution. All men are created equal, liberty and justice for all, free speech. They don't believe in these things. They really don't believe in it, as you can see from what I showed throughout this show, how they've condemned people who protested peacefully. Right? They've condemned these people. They hate them. They want to kill them. If you oppose them, if you have opposing views, they don't really believe in accepting opposing views. They claim the Muslims don't believe in that stuff, but it's them who doesn't believe in opposing views. They want to kill people who oppose Trump. They want to kill them, as I demonstrated in this show. They don't really believe in liberty and justice for all, as you saw during the show. They want to kill Hillary Clinton. The guy called for the execution. They called for the execution of people who are suspected of looting. Don't arrest you. Don't take you to jail and charge you in court. No, shoot the looter. Shoot the person who's looting or stealing. Death penalty for stealing. Imagine that. Not killing somebody. Not killing. Looting. Kill you for stealing, they say. So that's not liberty and justice. We see their examples of lack of liberty and justice, putting the immigrants or the refugees or whatever they want, or even if they're illegal immigrants, putting them in cages, putting the children in cages, keeping them in detention centers or camps, mistreating them, abusing them. We've seen the cases of racial injustice here in America for decades, for centuries, in fact. Racist police brutality, unjust laws passing, politicians speaking racistly. We've seen it. So we see that they really don't believe in any of these principles that they espouse. And not only in America, but we've seen it in other countries. We've seen it in France, Belgium, Greece, where they have politicians. In Netherlands, that guy, Geert Wilders, racist, right? Calling for racism against immigrants who aren't white. The BNP, the EDL, the KKK, Proud Boys, neo-Nazis. Greece, they have some kind of neo-Nazi group. South Africa still has, right? All the racist whites in South Africa have all kind of groups and things. Yet they claim they believe in free speech, and the West is civilized, and the West offers this, and the West offers that. But they really don't believe in those things. Those things, I guess, were only meant for white people. Right? I guess when it comes down to it, their actions show us that those things, they believe in them, but they only believe in them for white people. If you're not white, they don't believe in those things for us, for the black man and woman, for the East Asian black man and woman, for the Latino man and woman, for the Asian man and woman, for you, for the native indigenous people. They don't believe in that stuff for you and me. Perhaps they only believe in that stuff for themselves, for white people, white and in particular white Christians, perhaps, huh? If you're not in that group, we don't deserve free speech, according to them. Liberty and justice doesn't apply for us. The U.S. constitutional laws don't apply to us. That love that they speak of from Christianity, it doesn't apply to us, obviously, because the Christians have shown us that they don't love us, and they haven't loved us for centuries. We've seen how they treated the black man and woman in America. We've seen how they treated the Aborigines in Australia. We've seen how they treated the black people in Africa. We've seen how they treated the people in India and various other places on this earth, the indigenous people of Latin America, of South America, of the Caribbean islands, the indigenous people who were here in America before they got here. We've seen how example after example after example, they have colonized, abused, mistreated, racially discriminated against, racially abused all of these various people of color on this earth. The Chinese, the Japanese, all these different people on earth, they've abused them. Malaysia, Indonesia, you name it. Wherever this invader has gone, this colonizer has gone, claiming his BS Christianity, they haven't lived up to those claims. They've always abused those people in the name of that Christianity. They claim that they offer these lofty ideas of justice and equality and all men, but they really don't believe that. Even here in America, when they wrote up this Declaration of Independence and it said all men are created equal, they didn't really mean all men. They really meant all white men are created equal. Because how do we know this? Well, look how they treated the black man at that time. Look how they treated the indigenous man at that time. So they didn't mean literally all men are created. They should have put a little parentheses and put all white men are created equal, because their actions showed and proved that they didn't believe that all men were created equal. So as I said, there's been a lot of things going on here in America and around the world, but here in America in particular, that I've been hearing. And what really prompted me to do this show was that article that I showed you about the women being given hysterectomies in these detainment camps without their consent. Then I was like, damn, this is like, it sounds like Nazi Germany. And it just made me think about how these people, and then of course, as I showed you throughout the show, I showed all these other examples throughout the years of how they just show that they really don't believe in these ideas. The Colin Kaepernick protest, how they really don't believe in free speech and liberty and justice and constitution, all these different, they really don't believe in these things, man. Their actions show us they really don't believe in these things at all. And as I said in the last series of shows that I've been doing, that we are on the offensive now, right? We are on the offensive now. It's our turn now to return the favor, right? We've been on the defensive for a long time, refuting their claims against Islam, debunking, refuting, exposing their lies against Islam. Now it's time we go on the offensive with these arguments. So now I'm on the offensive with my arguments. Let me make it clear what I'm saying, because you know how they like to misconstrue. I'm talking about offensive with arguments. So as you see, the last series of videos that I've been doing have been on the offensive, exposing the evils of Christianity, the hypocrisy of the Christians and the Western supremacists. So perhaps we'll continue on that. Eventually we'll get back to some more refutation videos, but for now it's time that we go on the offensive with the arguments. And that's what we'll do. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up, brothers and sisters. I appreciate those of you who watched live, and those of you Yes, exactly. Those of you who watch live, and those of you who are going to watch this later, right? Those who are going to watch this later. Let's see, before I go, let's see, I got a couple of comments here. Let's read some of the comments from some of the people here. Let's see. Wa alaikum salam. We have Christ is not God, says Brother Shadid. In your debate with Wood on is Islam a threat to the West, in the comment section of his video of his YouTube channel, everyone was insulting you, calling you annoying, weak, black. Yeah, of course, brother, of course. But notice they can't write. You see, exactly. Notice they couldn't refute me though. All they could do was call me names. I'm annoying. Okay, but refute my damn argument, haters. Refute my argument, haters. Instead, oh, he's annoying. Yeah, I'm annoying because I'm telling the truth. I'm annoying because I'm exposing the bull stuff that you guys believe in. That's why I'm annoying. Huh? Calling me weak? Well, you know, okay, that's just projection. Black Muslim. Okay, so what? Yeah, okay, I'm Muslim and I'm black. And what's that got to do with anything? But that's all they can do is call names. That's all they can do. And I've said this before in my other videos. Forget the name calling. Refute what I'm saying. You can call me all the names you want, but refute what I'm saying. Address the arguments that I've made, but they can't. That's why Christ is not God. That's why they do that, because they can't refute. So all they do is call me names. He's annoying. He's a black Muslim. He's the N-word, whatever. All right? But you can't refute me. All praise is due to Allah. All right? Abdullah Isa says, the Zionists in 89 declared war on Umar for attempted world domination. There is a war on biblical Hamites and Ishmaelites. Guess who? Guess from who? Jesus is white supremacy in fake divinity form. Yeah, black wasn't allowed in Nicene Council. Yeah. So yeah, you know what I mean? So yes, I'm definitely aware of that's how they usually do it, because they can't refute it. So that's all they can do is call me names, say I'm annoying. But yes, I know the truth is annoying to those who are a part of the liars. Right? I know the truth is annoying. The truth is definitely going to annoy you when your falsehood is being exposed and refuted and exposed and debunked. The truth is definitely going to be annoying. So, you know, I have no problems with that. You know what I'm saying? I have no problems with that. But I'm going to wrap it up right there, brothers and sisters, for watching. Those who, again, I appreciate those who watch live. Thank you very much. For those who watch this later, don't forget to like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you are not a subscriber to our channel, please subscribe so that way you can keep up on and hit that bell notification. So whenever we do a video, you'll be notified and you can tune in live. Don't forget to support us on Patreon. We are trying to get to 10 super benefit. Let me see. What's the latest? What's the latest? Let me go to my Patreon and see what is the latest. Where are we up to on our Patreon thus far? Let's see where we're at. Where are we on our Patreon? Let's see. How many supporters do we have? We are up to 7. Okay, so we still have 7 Patreons, right? We still have 7. As I said, our goal, this is my Patreon page right here. This is what it looks like for those who want to see right here, right? That's the Patreon page. Mr. Islam Answers Back. So all you got to do is put in, basically, if you just put in Shadi Lewis, it'll come up. Or just click the link in the description of this video. That's the easiest way. Click the link in the description of this video. It'll take you to my Patreon page. And you can become a supporter for as little as $3, brothers and sisters. I know for a lot of us, things may be tight because of COVID restrictions. And we may possibly, well, at least in the United States, we may possibly be having another lockdown or shutdown coming soon because of the increase in numbers. I've heard in other countries that they have had increased numbers as well. So I know things might be tight. Your job might have cut your hours, or if you're employed, self-employed like myself, business may have gone down. But as little as $3 a month, brothers and sisters, if that's the best you can spare, then inshallah donate $3 on a monthly basis. But again, as they say, strength in numbers. Strength in numbers. So if many of you support me with $3, inshallah, I can do more videos on a consistent basis, because as you agree, this work is important. If of course you can do more, then we have other levels, $5, $10, etc. But as I said, I'm aware that things are maybe tight for a lot of us out there. Then if you can spare a minimum at $3 a month, then inshallah that would do greatly, especially when it's strength in numbers. All right, and there are other levels that you can check into. As I said, my goal is 10. I have 7, 3 more people. I need 3 more brothers and sisters, 3 or more, of course, to support us. But my goal is 10. I've been trying for the longest time to get up to 10 supporters on Patreon. And of course, the more supporters, the more I can dedicate to doing videos on a consistent basis. I know I've been saying this for a long time, but that's the truth. I want to be able to do videos just like the haters, to keep up in refuting the haters. Some of them do videos every day. Some of them do videos several times a week. Some of them may do videos once a week. I wanted to try to be consistent with once a week, but there's my circumstances, unfortunately, are preventing me from doing that right now. So unfortunately, my videos are kind of random and sporadic. Every time I try to get back on once a month, it becomes a little, something is, getting in my way. You know what I mean? But in any case, I'm grateful for the 7 people that Allah has allowed to donate. And again, we're trying to get up to 10 or more, right? But at least my minimum is to get 10 people, and then inshallah we'll go from there. So brothers and sisters, please, if you are not already a Patreon supporter, please go ahead and join. And as I said, in return, you do get something in return. You get exclusive information. I share my debate notes and other notes sometimes that I use in these videos. I share that information with you so you can use them for yourself, for your own debates, or just for your own personal study and information. You know what I mean? So you do get something in return for helping the brother out. And again, I appreciate it. May Allah reward you. And may Allah reward those 7 people that have stayed with me so far consistently. All right. But again, my goal is to get up to 10, a minimum of 10 people. And remember, as I always got to remind you, brothers and sisters, remember, the haters, they have many supporters. And they keep pumping out anti-Islamic information. In order for us to compete, we have to match them or excel them, right? We have to match them or excel them in order to, to be able to match. Wow, look at, here's David Wood, everybody. Here's David Wood. This is David Wood's support per month. This is what he gets. Look how many people he has. I don't say this in a boasting or bragging way, but I've been around just as long as David Wood has been on YouTube. My first debate ever back in the early 2000s was against David Wood. Right? My first debate ever was against David Wood. Or really, well, the first debate was actually against Nabil Qureshi, who was a partner with David Wood. So I debated, but my first 2 debates ever, one was against Nabil Qureshi and the other against David Wood. Those are the first public debates that I ever had. And I've been around on YouTube just as long as he has. Look at the support that he has. Last time when I talked about this, he only had like, 800 and something people, right? He had about 800 and something people. Notice how his numbers have increased. If he went from 800 and something supporters, now he has over 1,200. Now he has over 1,200 supporters. So is it any wonder that he can do a video every day against Islam, mocking Islam, insulting the Prophet, insulting Allah, lying against Islam, spreading false information? Is it no wonder that he can do it? Is it no wonder that he can do it full time? And I see sometimes the Muslims are upset that, that there's not enough content responding to these people. Well, look at the support that he has, brothers and sisters. You want the Muslims to be able to respond in like manner? You got to support. You got to support, plain and simple. Now, there may be some brothers out there who don't need it. MashaAllah, right? There may be some brothers who can, who are good. They don't need the support. As I said, unfortunately, I by Allah, I would like to be one of those brothers who don't need it. Unfortunately, I do need it. You know what I'm saying? I do need it. And like I said, right now, I'm just trying to get 10 people. Again, my goal is 10, let alone 1,200. My goal is 10. Right? As I said, inshallah, we like to go in increments. We'll start off with 10, and then we'll move to 15, then 20, etc. But look, this guy has over 1,200 supporters. So the Christians are willing, the Christians and the haters are willing to back up their people, right? They're willing. And again, I know I'm repeating myself from previous videos, but again, I got to keep driving this into the brothers and sisters. The Christians are willing to back up their people, right? This is David Wood's channel. This is his Patreon. They're willing to back up their people. They're willing to support their people and make sure that he can continue to do what he does against Islam. Right? They're willing to back him up. Right? They're willing to back him up. The Muslims, again, I'm grateful for the 7 people that I have. Alhamdulillah, I got 7 people. Better than having nothing. MashaAllah, I got 7 supporters. MashaAllah. Thank you, Allah. And thank those brothers and sisters who are among those 7. I'm trying to get 10, bro. Just 10 for now. Just 10 people to support me so I can put more effort into doing these videos. and giving you the content that as Muslims, not only that you deserve, but that helps you. You know, that helps you in these arguments, in refuting the lies, exposing the hatred and misinformation against Islam. And alhamdulillah, I've received over the years, you know, emails and you know, things from brothers and sisters who said that my videos have helped them. My debates have helped them to, you know, remain in Islam or come back to Islam, mashallah, right? That I helped them through my, you know, through my videos, that Allah was able to guide them to come back to Islam through my videos, mashallah. I'm grateful for that. Or I was able to help somebody by Allah's permission remain a Muslim. They were losing their iman because of David Wood videos. They were losing their iman because of Christian Prince videos. They were losing their iman. They were about to give up on Islam. And mashallah, Allah allowed them to come across a Mr. Islam video. And the brother sends me an email, says, it was your video that allowed me to come back to Islam. I was getting ready to give up on it because of David Wood videos. And then I saw your video, Mr. Islam, and you refuted him and you exposed. And mashallah, my iman got stronger. Praise be to Allah that Allah allowed me to be that person. That Allah allowed me to be that person whose my video allowed you to come back to Islam or to stay Muslim. Mashallah, that's a great honor. Thank you, Allah. Thank you, Allah, for that. That's a great honor that I could be a tool in helping somebody to come back to Islam or to stay Muslim who was getting ready to leave because of the lies and misinformation of David Wood and these other haters out there. MashaAllah. Thank you. Praise to Allah for allowing my little videos, little Mr. Islam Ministers back, to be such a force to bring somebody either back to Islam or to let them remain a Muslim when they were getting ready to leave. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Praise be to Allah for that. And I want to continue to do that work, brothers and sisters. I want to continue. It's not about, and as I said to you guys before, it's not about misusing your donations to get rich. No, it's not about misusing your donations to get a private jet like these Christians, right? Like these Christians be doing with the money that they get. No, this is to really put it towards the work. So I can dedicate the efforts that needs to be put to doing more videos, getting more research materials and things like that. So I give you, as I've said before, it won't, the donations will not be misused like the Christians do. It'll just be used to continue these efforts so I can do it more often. Whether that means, getting more books and materials to learn, get more information about Islam, or getting better equipment, microphones or better camera or whatever, right? To do, it's going towards the cause. Or whether it just allows me to be able to free up time to study more, to read more, and to make the videos on a more consistent basis. It's going towards the cause, right? The more you help me, the more I can put efforts towards doing the work that needs to be done, like David Wood does every day or several times a day, right? So I just want the brothers and sisters to be aware of that, keep that in mind. One more time, this is David Wood. It increased from the last time I showed you guys. He has increased a few hundred supporters now. All right. So just something to think about. Just something to keep in mind. Right. Just something to keep in mind about that. Inshallah. All right. So enough about that. Let me get ready to go ahead and let's go ahead and wrap it up. I've spoken long enough. And I appreciate you guys. All right. What's this? Oh, okay. Well, I got a few more comments. What do you think of David Wood eating? And oh, well, yeah. I mean, well, come on, bro. That's like the ultimate form of disrespect, right? Christ is not God. Of course, that's disrespectful. And that's what I'm talking about. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Look at the disrespect. And again, this also ties into today's topic, that they really don't believe in what they claim. Right. They don't believe in, turning the other cheek, loving your enemy. Why would he do that? Why would he rip the Quran and eat it? Why would he do that? That's a clear show that he's trying to be offensive, right? That's a clear example that he's trying to be offensive on purpose. He's being mean-spirited on purpose. I would never do that. I would never rip the Bible and eat it. Not even in private would I do that. Not even in private would I show dislike of the Bible and rip it, spit on it, or rip it and eat it. No, I would never do that. I would never do that. Definitely wouldn't, I would never, whether in private or on public forum. But that shows you he's trying to be mean-spirited on purpose, brothers and sisters. And yet, notice, look at the Christians. They love that. They support that, as you just saw from his Patreon supporters. And matter of fact, his numbers increased. They didn't decrease, right? The numbers didn't decrease. His numbers went up. If you go back to my old videos when I show his Patreon, he had about 800 and something supporters. He had about 800 something, right? Now he has over 1,200. So that means what he has done makes more people want to support him. More mean-spirited, bigoted Christians want to support him even more. They didn't say, David, that was bad. I'm taking my support away from you, David. You're not representing Christ. You're not representing Christianity. You're not showing the good example of a Christian, David. I'm taking my Patreon away from you. No, his numbers have increased. He got even more supporters. So what does that tell you about what they think about us and Islam? What does that tell you about how they feel about us, brothers and sisters? Right? That shows you how they feel about us. That shows you how they feel about us, brothers and sisters. His numbers have went up. They didn't go down. That means the Christians are approving of this. They approve of it and they increased. He got even more support. He got even more support. You see? More support he even got. So, there it is. There it is. That's how it is. So, again, I'm trying to just get 10 right now. My goal is 10 supporters on Patreon. 3 more people. So hopefully, inshallah, after this show, I will get those 3 more people. I will get those 3 more. And again, like I said, you can a minimum of $3 a month. That's it. $3 a month. Right? That's hardly anything. That's hardly. Brother Muhammad Zakaria, how you doing, brother? Alhamdulillah. Welcome. Unfortunately, brother, you just came at the tail end. I'm getting ready to wrap it up, but appreciate you stopping through. But you can always watch the restream of it, right? But I appreciate you stopping in. So I'm going to end it on that. Again, brothers and sisters, please help out. I'm trying to get at least 3 people. And the more support that I get, the more I can do more videos and keep up with the continuous onslaught of the haters. Because again, I repeat, and as you see, he has his people and his numbers have gone up. The more offensive things that he says and does against Islam, apparently they love that. Apparently they like it and it gets him more supporters. As your Muslim brother who's trying to do that work, along with others. Yes, there are others out there. We're all out there doing work. So, a lot of us are out there trying to do the best we can. So, but again, your brother's just looking for support. Again, I've been around as long as David Wood has. Right? I've been around as long as David Wood has. And unfortunately, look at how the Christians have given their support. And I'm still struggling just to get 10 people, man. Wow, subhanAllah. What's this? Christ is not God? Shadid, I think Wood will go to hell. Well, unless he repents before he passes, right? Unless he repents and says that he's sorry for all the stuff that he said over the year. That's possible. You never know. But yeah, if that doesn't happen, well, then we already know, right? We already know that, inshallah, how Allah will judge such a person. So, all right, guys, let me wrap this up, though. Let me wrap this up. Enough talk. Let me wrap this up. Appreciate you guys checking in. And again, don't forget, like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit that notification bell, right? Hit that notification bell. And don't forget to utilize the links in the description of the video. Join the Patreon. Send some support on the Cash App. And, just support your brother, inshallah. And may Allah, and for those who are supporting already, may Allah continue to reward you for your support. And those who may support in the future, may Allah reward you tenfold for your support. And I thank you in advance. All right. You're right, brother. He provides nothing educational, just mockery. Exactly. But apparently they love that. You know what I mean? Apparently they love that. You know what I mean? Apparently the Christians love that. They love it and they show it with their support. Right? They show it with their support. So that's what we see. All right, guys, let me wrap this up. I know I keep saying I'm gonna wrap it. Let me wrap it up. Oh, I'm getting a whole bunch of more comments. A couple more comments. Let's see. What's this? Can you refute his video Hijab Day, where he denies that Muslims ever get harassed on the streets? Okay, I'll take a look at it. Shadid, I think he's the greatest kafir in human history. Well, I don't know if he's the greatest one, bro. Christ, and that guy. I don't know if he's the greatest, but he's definitely, he's definitely up there. He has intense disease in his heart. He's an enemy of his deen. What do you think? Like I said, I don't think he's the greatest. I don't know if he's the greatest, but he's definitely, he's definitely a hater, no doubt about it. His videos have demonstrated that he's clearly a hater of Islam. Vehement hatred too. His videos display a vehement hatred for Islam, a very mean-spirited hatred of Islam. The stuff that he does and says, so it's obvious. It's obvious. But again, I don't know if he's the greatest, but he's definitely a very mean-spirited, spiteful hater of Islam. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. All right. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Appreciate you guys watching and appreciate those who will watch this later. Assalamu alaikum.